Good morning, church family.
Good morning.
Welcome to this revival. Amy Barnes, girl, some more love. I think our feet have struck Zion this morning. It's so good to be here and to see all of you and to celebrate with you 84 wonderful years. But more importantly, to reflect upon this extraordinary idea, living the principle. Awesome topic, absolutely awesome. You know, when I received the flyer from the Building Fund Committee and I saw this topic, it just resonated so wonderfully with me. This idea of living the principle. And you know, prior to today, you've had a number of other guests who come in and they shared with you their ideas as it relates to this topic, but more importantly, what does it mean to you? Have you reflected on that?
Yes.
Living the principle. You know, unlike so many other spiritual ideas, when you became a part of this concept that is called the science of mind, you entered into a living philosophy. This is not something that you come in and you hear about on Sunday morning, and then you go out of here and you forget all about it. It's not something that you come to because you have nothing else to do on Sunday morning, and you decided that maybe you would spend some time before the football game. I would like to think that we came because we wanted to be empowered just a little bit more. That someone was going to share something with us, an idea that was going to resonate within our consciousness, a word that was going to be said, that was going to empower us more than we were empowered prior to entering into the space today. And then after coming in and listening to the word of inspiration, to receive something that we would take out of here that would encourage us, empower us, uplift us, and inspire us in the week to come. Regardless of what might challenge us, regardless of what may come against us. That because we are a part of a living philosophy, and we came and we received something that empowered our livingness, something that reminded us once again of what we are, who we are, and what it is that we are all about. The essence that we are connected with, that something is empowering us, something alive is flowing through us. It gives us life. And that someone today would share a word of inspiration about living the principle. What does it mean to you? You know, when I read the idea and I looked at it, the first thing that came to me was that it means saying yes. Yes. That I want to say yes to life. That I want to live affirmatively. Yes. And that's what this idea means to me. Being able to live this principle, live this idea, to live this truth, to live this thing that we call the science of mind and the teaching that is related to it. You know, as I shared earlier, you know, I had a conversation a couple weeks ago with a broker who works for me, and he had been looking for some properties for me, and he hadn't found anything that I was really interested in. And it seemed like when he came to me, he was apologizing for not having something. And so each time he would come, and I would say, well, you know, don't worry about it, because we're in our right place all the time. And that which is rightfully ours will find its way to us. Yes. And see, when we live from that perspective, we are always guided to the right thing as opposed to getting involved in the wrong thing and having a regret later on. You know, why rush to something when we are dependent upon Spirit leading us to that which is right for us? Yeah. So this is what it means when we are living from a place of living the principle, living the truth. So I said, you know, don't worry about it. And oftentimes, you know, he would look at me, you know, sort of strangely because, you know, anybody else is just rushing to get involved in something. And so we had a conversation one day, and I shared with him, as I share with so many other people, I'm not one of these individuals who live sleeve.
Come on now.
In other words, I don't need to tell you that I'm Reverend Dr. Ronnie Jones for you to understand my position in life and my philosophy as it relates to life. Because what I need to do is to live my belief, and then when you see what it is that I'm living, you will understand what it is I'm all about. See, it's not so much about what it is that we say, as much as it is about what it is that we live. You know, so many folk come into this flow, and it becomes really a talking point. Something that we share in conversation that, you know, I'm a part of this philosophy. I go to this kind of church. And if you look around, you know, New Thought churches are on the decline. It's like they're sort of going away. Why? Because people have come in and they heard something, but they didn't live what they heard.
That's right.
Because when you live it, it empowers you and it empowers everything that you are attached to. Now, you look at your circumstance, look at your families, look at your immediate friends, look at everything that you hold dear, and make an assessment about what of this have you shared with them, what it is that you believe is not only empowering you, but empowering someone else. That's what it's about, living this thing. Not just talking about it, but living it. Today I want you to acknowledge something, and that's this. There is something that keeps following you. Something that's going with you everywhere you go. The psalmist says that this something is with us eternally. And he calls it this: goodness and mercy. They're following you. But they're following you because they are looking to you to direct and to lead. But because you fail to do that, all it does is follow you. It's like having a good thing that's readily available to you and not knowing it, and because you don't know it's there, you don't use it. And then when you don't use it, that means that you don't get the benefit of it because you don't know it's there. But what would happen to life when you realize that it's there? Now, those of you that have been a part of this experience for quite some time, you know that it's there. What's your excuse for not using it? You know it's there. You know it's with you.
That's right.
But yet, you fret, you worry, you get upset, you let everything rob you of your joy. Today can be the turning point. That there's a shift in your experience. The master metaphysician and teacher, Joel Goldsmith, he writes this: you may as well begin right here and now by realizing that the secret to having anything is first obtaining the consciousness of it. Yes. The secret of having anything is to first obtain the consciousness of the thing that you are seeking. Yes. So what does he mean by that? What does it look like? What does it feel like? And what does it do for you? That's having the consciousness of it. When you can answer those questions. What does it look like? What does it feel like? And what does it do for you? So the secret to the obtaining of your good is to create within yourself the consciousness of the thing that you desire. So, going back to living affirmatively, when we say yes to life, and when we live affirmatively, we understand completely this wonderful idea that we are sacred beings. Say that, I'm a sacred being.
I'm a sacred being.
We are sacred beings designed to create in a receptive atmosphere of creativity. Imagine that. You are a sacred being. Not only are you sacred, but you have been designed, especially by the divine itself, you have been designed to create in an atmosphere of creativity. Imagine, everything around you is creativity. And here you are in the midst of it. You are thinking into this receptive, creative stuff. And let's just label it as divine mind. You are constantly thinking into divine mind. And therefore, it is constantly receiving your thoughts and taking that thought and creating something out of it. And the thing that it creates out of it is called your experience. Yes. And your experiences are the result of the ideas that you are entertaining within your mind. Now, it is so receptive and so creative. It is not repelling anything that you are placing into it, but yet it is receiving it all. And because we are thinking beings, we are constantly thinking. And every thought is going somewhere.
Yes.
And when we look at the body of our affairs, we look at all of our experiences, what we are seeing is what the divine mind is reflecting back to us. This is what you have been thinking. Conscious of it or not. It's not saying no. It's receiving it all. It's giving it all back to you. That's why so often they say, if you want to change your life, you change your thinking. And look at what's going on. You look at where you are. When you look at the things that you are demonstrating, that which you are attracting to yourself. All this is just a mirror of what it is that you are thinking within your own mind. Like it or not, if you don't like it, change what it is that you are thinking, and thus you will change the Imagine being empowered with all of that, placed in this place. And that's why the ancient writers say, in him we live and we move and we have our being. Because this is where we are. We're living in this creative place. We're living in this receptive place. We're living in this place of divine creativity, and we're constantly putting stuff there. As you are sitting here listening to me right now, you should be thinking about your own state of affairs and what it is that you would like to alter. That's there right now. Know that you can do just that. Speaking of choices, a couple weeks ago, I went on vacation. I went to Connecticut. And I had planned this trip and looking forward to getting there. And I had, made my plans ahead and reserved a hotel, reserved an automobile, and did all these things. And wanted to get there early, so I had to leave early because there are no direct flights from here to Connecticut. It's not a major tourist destination, so you really got to plan what it is that you're going to do and plan ahead. So, I called myself doing this. I wanted to get an early flight because an early flight still is going to get me there late. And when I got there, I had planned to meet with one of my brothers, excuse me, and his family. And we had planned to get together for dinner, and I didn't want to miss that, so I know that, I had to move and to be on time. Further, the other thing is I didn't want to get there and get to the rental car place, and all the cars are gone. I didn't want to get there, and then I'm stuck with what's left. And what's left means I got to hold myself up to get into it. To get out of it. So I wanted to avoid all of that. I didn't want them to give away my hotel room, and so, there's only one Marriott in the city. And it's like, this has all got to work. So my flight was at 6:30 that morning. So I figured if I got to the airport at 5:30, I'm good. And that time in the morning, the airport's only 15 minutes from my house. So I get to the airport, and I get to Delta Airlines, and there's a short line there at curbside. And I said, good, this line will move quickly, and I'll be on my way. Well, as I start observing what's going on around me, there's only 2 skycaps there, and then one of them, he's absolutely consumed with this one person. I think maybe she was moving, she had so much luggage. I mean, she had a ton of luggage. And he was just as happy as he could be, and he's involved in this conversation. And then his colleague right across from him was just as happy, and he's totally involved in the conversation. I said, well, this line is moving really slow, and these guys are just having the time of their lives talking. So finally, I get to the sky captain. He says to me, oh, we have a 45-minute cutoff, and they're serious about this cutoff. So you're going to have to go inside. So I said, okay. So I get my luggage, and I'm going inside. Well, I look inside, and there's a real line there. So I said, okay. And I get into the priority line, and I'm waiting. So this one person, an attendant, she's coming around, and I showed her my itinerary, and I said, they changed the time of my flight, and I really need to get there, and I'm stuck in this line. She looked at it and said, oh no, you missed that flight. She said, they'll be closing the door when you get there. And I said, well, what can I do? She said, well, you just have to wait until you get up to the counter. So, I reflected on the trip, and I thought to myself, I said, this is one of those instances in life where we make choices. And I thought about something that Emma Curtis Hopkins always said. A wonderful affirmation that's so easy to use whenever there's a need of an affirmation, something to center you and to keep you focused. And it's so simple. It is, divine love always has and always will supply my every need. So I stood there, and that came to me, and I settled myself, and I spoke that word, and I said, divine love always has and always will supply my every need. I am in my rightful place at the right time, and everything is moving in accordance with divine will. And I let it go. So, right after I had made this affirmation, the gentleman behind me tapped me on my shoulder. He had heard the conversation with the woman, and he said, if you get either one of those two attendants over there, they'll probably get you through. So the line moved, and I got one of those attendants. And as I walked up to his counter and I put my luggage on the way, he said, where are you going? And I told him, he pulled everything up. He says, well, you'll just make it. My choice was to panic, to get upset, to be annoyed, to create a disturbance. To do all that. Those are the choices that we all make every day. To get upset, to cause a disturbance, to create a panic, to fret, to bring things on ourselves that are not necessary. So he gave me my boarding pass. He said, you're approved for pre-check for TSA, go on through. And I went right through. There was just one person in the TSA line in front of me. I went right in. When I got to the gate, they were still boarding. And the lady that was at the gate, she said to me, she looked at my boarding pass and said, oh, you missed your pre-boarding refreshment. Would you like for me to walk you to the door? I said, yes. So she said, follow me. She said to everyone else that was standing in line, would you stand to the right, please? On to the gate. I boarded the plane. I sat in my seat. And as I sat in that seat, I said, Father, I do give thee thanks. Once again, the choices we make. We make choices based upon what it is that we truly believe. Not what we say we believe, but what it is that we truly believe. And the choices that we truly believe govern how we live. When we we entered into this idea that we call the science of mind, we were given living instructions. This was not an opportunity for us just to add to the conversation or to the gossip that we share with someone else, but it was something for us to embrace and to cause our entire living experience to be augmented. And that's what those of us that are real students of this science do. We embrace these philosophies and we learn how to live them. We embrace goodness and mercy. Dr. Ernest Holmes writes into this thing called life. He says this: if the gift of life is already made, then our part must be to accept, receive, believe in, and to use it. If we can believe for one moment that the gift of life has already been made, and it's been made to each of us without reservation, been made to each of us without regard to our last name or our parentage, who were made to us regardless of where we have come from or what it is that we do. Yes. It's been given to us.
Yes.
But it's now our turn to either accept it, to receive it, to believe it, and to use it. Life has made the gift. Now, that implies this, that we must then become conscious of who we are, what we are, and where we are. Who we are, what we are, and where we are. Let's examine that. Who are we? Who are you? Affirm this. I am the I am personality. Why don't you say that?
I am the I am personality.
And that's what you are. Now, the I am personality, what is that? The personification of the God presence. The Christ idea made manifest. That's the I am personality. That's who you are. Secondly, what are you? Now, you are that divine power that knows itself. Won't you say this? I am that divine power
That knows itself.
Now, stay with me. Let's try this all over again. I am that divine power that knows itself. Yes, you are. Now, what is that? You are an element in the all-knowing mind of God. That's how you become that divine power that knows itself. And where are you? You are in the atmosphere of divine creativity. That's where you're at. Say with me, I am in the atmosphere of divine creativity. So we just talked about who you are. We just talked about what you are. And we just talked about where you are. Get the understanding. This trinity of the self. All of these refer to you. Now, going back to Dr. Holmes' statement, now it's up to you to accept it, receive it, and believe it. Now, if you accept who you are, what you are, and where you are, and you believe that, and you've received it, there's only one thing left to do, right? Act like it.
All right.
Does us no good to know who we are and what we are and where we are, and then do nothing with it. It's like saying that you want to take a trip and you're sitting in the car behind the wheel. You got to turn it on, folks. It's not going to go with you just sitting there. Life requires your activity. It requires an action on your part. Everything you do requires you to do something in order to augment the self. You know, we can share principles from this platform all day long, but if you don't do anything with them, you just shared something and it just fell on idle ears. But if you take the information and then you begin to apply it to to your circumstance,
Yes.
you begin then to change your circumstance for the better.
Yes.
You know, it's one thing to say that we want greater whatever, and know that greater whatever is available to us, and then do nothing about it. It requires some action on your part. Now, where do we begin? We begin by calling goodness and mercy from behind us to in front of us. We want it right where we are. We want to be able to see it. We want to be able to embrace it. And thus, we want to be able to use it. Gift of life has been given. Goodness and mercy are there. They're there for your use. Seize them and use them for your own benefit. Now, let's affirm something else. And what we're doing each time we're making these affirmations is we're putting some renewed ideas into consciousness, something for us to work on as well as something to work with. Once again, let's start by just saying yes to life.
Yes to life.
Now close your eyes and listen to this word and process it, and then we're going to affirm it. But I want you to process what it is that I'm saying first, rather than just saying something because I asked you to say it. I want you to know what it is that you're saying so that you can apply it. Today, the possibilities of my experience are unlimited. The Spirit flows through me, inspiring, empowering, and sustaining that inspiration. I know that where I am, God is. Now exhale and think about that for a moment. Today, the possibilities of your experience are unlimited. Just think about that. Possibilities being unlimited of your experience. We're referring to all the things that you ever thought about doing, all the things you ever thought about achieving, all the things you ever thought about accomplishing, all the things that you would like to have that are rightfully yours, that all of these are possibilities. And they remain in that realm as long as we do nothing about them. Now, imagine being gifted to bring these abstract ideas into your own experience. They become your reality. Only you know what these good things are. We're not asking you to share them with anyone else, but just to hold those ideas in your mind as you make this affirmation. So now let's say this together. I'm going to say the word and I want you to affirm it. Today, the possibilities of my experience are unlimited.
Today, the possibilities of my experience are unlimited.
The Spirit flows through me.
The Spirit flows through me,
Inspiring, empowering, and sustaining that inspiration. I know that where I am, God is. I know that where I am, God is. Now reflect on what you just said. I said initially, you processed it, now you said it. That today, beginning right now, regardless of what happened prior to this moment, that the possibilities of your experience are unlimited. However and whenever you have chose to place limitations upon yourself, cancel that right now. Discard them right now. Because you are an unlimited being. And therefore, you live in the realm of unlimited possibilities. All kinds of possibilities are coming to you. In the past, you pushed them away and you made excuses of why you could not experience that. Today, no longer entertain that. Today, be open and receptive to everything that is rightfully yours. Every vision that you've had for yourself. Every good thing that has your name attached to it. Every possibility that's rightfully yours is flowing into your circumstance, open yourself to receive them.
Yes.
And as you receive them, expect your life to be made better. Expect your circumstances to be made changed. And expect greater good to be that which defines you. Because you are living the principle. Continuing in his writings in his book of this thing called life, Dr. Holmes poses a question to the reader, and he says this: have you ever asked yourself or carefully studied the words of Jesus in his prayers? Now, when you read any of his writings, and he quotes many times actions that were taken by Jesus, and he uses him as the model teacher, he says, have you ever asked yourself and looked at the words that he used? Simple, but yet powerful, all-encompassing. Or were you just so caught up in the awe of what it is that he was saying that you missed the point in terms of using that to apply to your own words? To use those words and apply them to your own desires. Now, more specifically, what he talks about and uses as an example, the words that Jesus used in his prayer while standing at the tomb of Lazarus. He says, here we read the greatest demonstration in the history of the human experience. We have no record of any other person. We have no record of anyone else being so confident in their relationship with God, being so undisturbed by the opinions of others, being so assured that there was no other power that could attend to him but the presence of God, that he stood there and did not see death and yet called life forward. How often can any of us put ourselves in that kind of position? The things that we thought were dead in our life, that we call them forward. The experiences that we thought were completely discarded, we gave them life. Why? Because they were possibilities.
Yes.
And possibilities are unlimited to those of us that live these principles. Possibilities are unlimited to those of us that absolutely believe that right where we are, God is.
Yes.
Now, this is what Jesus was teaching in this instance. So he made this very simple but yet very powerful and awesome prayer. He said these words: Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me, and I know that thou hearest me always. Imagine that. I'm going to give you my expression of gratitude in advance, because I have no doubt in my mind that you heard me. And further that, you hear me all the time. It's me, myself, that might think that that prayer is not heard. It's me, myself, that might think that, you know, these words are just idle words and they have no impact. But I want to alter that. I want to change this. I want to give thanks that you have heard me, but I know that you hear me all the time. And that's true for each of us. Now he says in this, Jesus was affirming that God or life is right where we are. Now, those of us that are true students of the science of mind and understand these principles and have gone through all the classes and looking at the simple statement that Jesus gave here as recorded by Dr. Holmes, it comprises all the steps of the spiritual mind treatment combined in one statement. It was recognition, it was realization, it was unification, and it was thanksgiving, all rolled up into one. One simple statement. Let you know, it doesn't have to go through any drawn-out experience. All you got to do is have belief and confidence in what it is that you say.
Yes. Yes.
In this instance, Jesus turned from the denial of life to the greatest affirmation that the human mind can entertain. That is that God is all there is. And God is right where we are, always. and that the power of divine life is available here, and it is available now. Imagine that. It's available to you right now. It'll be available to you when you walk through these doors.
Yes.
It'll be available to you when you get to your car. It's available to you when you arrive at your destination. When you awaken on tomorrow and you're faced with a different set of circumstances, it is still available to you. When you lay down tomorrow night, dealing with a whole nother list of issues, it'll be available to you then as well.
Yes.
Makes no difference what day may come or go, what issues you may be confronted with. The same power, the same presence is there, and it's available to you.
Yes.
But what good does it do you if you don't use it? What good? So let's do this. Close your eyes. Relax in your seats. And with your eyes closed while you're relaxed there, just think of some issue that has confronted you. What is attempting to rob you of your greatest joy and your greatest happiness? What are you hearing on the outside that you don't want to hear on the inside? Move from that for just a moment, and in the silence of yourself, speak this to yourself. Father, I thank thee. You have heard me, and I know that you hear me always. And as you make that statement, then reflect upon whatever that challenge, whatever that conflict, whatever that condition might be, and see yourself moving away from it. Moving away with power. Moving away with complete determination, without any doubt, without any worry, without any concern of adverse impact. But move with the expectation that something good, and something wonderful, and something for your higher good has replaced that challenge, that conflict, that circumstance. See yourself as the victor and not the victim. And accept this movement of spirit in your circumstance. And as you accept it, then just exhale. Let it go. You've already expressed your gratitude. You already know that your word, your idea, has been received in this creative medium, this atmosphere of creativity that you are in the midst of. And in that very powerful place, you now have spoken a very powerful word on your own behalf. Now, expect that word to do its perfect work. Expect change. And know that change is happening. And after you let it go, do just that. Let it go. That's why so often we say, and so it is. That's how we put the period to it. We let it go completely. So with that, let's all just say, and so it is.
And so it is.
See how easy it is to let it go? How easy it is to invoke the word of truth. How easy it is to speak something powerful when you know that you're in a powerful place. And you're always in a powerful place. You're always in this atmosphere of divine creativity. You're always in this place where something is receiving your word and taking that word and sending that word back out to you as an experience. Imagine in this place for 84 years, someone light to this spiritual community. Now, here we are 84 years later. It is up to you to keep that sharing going, to keep a place created that others might be able to come and to likewise benefit from this teaching. It is up to you. I recall a little song, I'm sure we all used to sing, "This Little Light of Mine, I'm gonna let you." Same thing, live in principle. Peace and blessings to you.